Why Russia Sold Alaska
these new lands
by
Russian,
Stateballs.
And let's call them Chukotka. Is this going to be Chukotka over there as
So
well?
I always thought this was pronounced Chukchi. Is it not Chukchi?
Chukchi C.
Oh no, it is. Okay, I think they're talking about something else. So I kind of have an idea of how Russia sold Alaska. They really needed the money, but I'm really curious how the Countryball universe is going to explain it.
Well, no. Those are other lands. This part will be called Alaska.
And what's interesting,
Your Majesty, is the Crimean War consumes too much?
Crimea War. What's interesting is that Russia didn't have that many people in their colonies. Only a couple of thousand.
The treasury resources.
I think we're spending too much on such a remote point of the country like Alaska.
And
So maybe we should sell it to the Americans.
yeah, because they didn't want to sell it to the
course.
British.
From now on, it will be their problem.
What? Did I hear correctly?
His thin mustache.
Yes, we're selling Alaska.
Well, I've got everything we need to sign the deal.
And now the U.S. is going to find oil immediately. Wait.
What a symbol!
I don't know what
it
happened.
is. So stupid.
Immediately.
And you should be promoted. Well done.
Oh, watch.
It was a good idea.
Uh-oh.
Your Majesty, I beg to report that the Americans have found deposits of gold, gas, and oil in Alaska.
Here it is.
May I go?
So he's going to get executed now.
Yes, you may.
How does Countryballs get guillotined? Because, like, what exactly, how does their head get chopped off? The United States paid only $7.2 million back in 1867 for the entire territory of Alaska, which then became our biggest state by far. Texas is not even close. After being defeated in the Crimean War, Russia feared that Russian Alaska would be easily captured in any future war by the British, which is why they sold it to the US instead. Again, this was by Stateballs. If you aren't already, please go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Here is why Texas is
He
not
should
Mexico.
Be here any minute now.
The Alamo.
Hey, Texas. You texted me that you have something
Texas?
important to discuss.
You texted me?
Well,
and text?
actually, I would like to join you.
Where's their stars at? Is this an early Texas flag?
No. Mexico will definitely not like it.
Yeah.
I don't want to get war with him. See you
Uncle
next
Sam
time.
hat. I really like that.
Wait a minute.
Wait, now I want to go down the rabbit hole of, like, historical Texas flags. Needless to say, the Texans have had a plethora of national flags that have flown over it, even just a straight-up green one, like the old Libyan flag. They had this short-lived one just for a few years there, which is just red with a white giant star. Kind of feels a little communist in a way. Then they had this weird Polish flag for a second with these random words on it.
Real and independent country. I even have a cannon.
Okay.
No means no. I'm out of here.
So Mexico's gonna cut.
Stupid Texas.
Here they are.
I've got to take that gun from him and make him part of me.
Mm-hmm.
Ah!
Alamo. Whoa!
I'm sick of you. Sign the document on my independence.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I changed my mind.
Maybe we want you
All right.
now.
Here is a star.
It's an honorary.
Welcome to the United States of America.
And there's the Lone Star State.
Alright.
Then I'll declare war on you.
Jesus,
Um,
again.
I don't.
You're such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, sorry, Mexico. One thing's for sure, out of all the U.S. states, Texas probably has some of the most interesting history. At least they're up there with the original 13 colonies. Here's one about the history of Japan. Now, the history of Japan is a very interesting one. There's also not any narration here, so hopefully I can help to describe some of the events that go down here. Code of laws. We have a lot of Japan being influenced by China. I don't know if that's like that to say, but at this time, although it is pretty normal to be influenced by neighbors worldwide, that's kind of a regular thing. We have a samurai blade coming out already. So this is 1274 to 1281. This is a very big moment because this is where the Mongols arrive. The Mongols are going to try to sail across the sea and it's going to be unsuccessful. Who knows how different Japan would have been if they were successfully invaded down here. Sorry, spoiler alert, because now we know what's going to happen. But so here's their first boat, and that didn't go so well. That's the crazy thing, is it happened twice. They're not going to show it, but it was like a storm that took them out twice. Japan getting some new islands. The Dutch were their best friends. They didn't like the Portuguese. There was like a little competition that went on for a little bit, but the Dutch were overall their besties for a little bit. The only European power that was able to, I guess, discuss in the Countryball universe with them. They didn't go over the Sengoku period, but this was complete chaos. That would have been a lot of Countryballs to have had to have drawn. There's actually a lot of video games about it. Well, relative to other historical events, I feel. That's maybe not a lot, but pretty good amount. Shogun in Edo, closed. Yep, so they're going to close their border. The USA is going to be like, hey, they're going to start knocking pretty soon. A couple more centuries. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm thinking of the Bill Wirtz quote. Stop having it be closed. They are losing money or economically not doing... Okay, here it is. Knock, knock. Open up the country. Stop having it be closed. I feel like I have to show that now.
Open the country. Stop having it be closed.
So they were going to listen. And USA is going to be like, hey, yeah, we're going to force you into some deals here. Start trading. Uh-oh, we have the no-no Japanese flag. This is the very beginning. So first they're going to get themselves into a war with Russia. They're going to embarrass Russia. 1905, the Russo-Japanese War. They're going to get some territory out of it in the north. Yes, this was pretty bad for Russia, which now looking back, because we just talked about the Crimean War, the 19th century was definitely not the best time for Russia, was it? I mean, even after that, into the 1920s, during this civil war, when the Soviets took over, don't forget the Polish even defeated the Soviets to gain their independence. That's something that I've always forgotten about. So maybe with all that in mind, a certain mustache man that led Germany wasn't insane for thinking all he had to do is kick in the door and the whole house would come down, referring to the Soviets. They had been taking several L's. Okay, anyways, back on topic. We are going to take over Korea, says Japan. As, I love the wave beforehand. Hi, you're going to join us. Pretty sure they were not going to be happy about it, though, that's for sure. Maybe the Japanese that moved there. Okay, we have World War I. We just discussed this. The Entente powers, which was France, the UK, and Russia versus the Central powers, the Ottomans as well. So Japan was actually going to join the Entente during this time, and they were going to get a little bit of islands out of this. 1923, they got some additional pickups. Tokyo, that was actually a reference to the 1923 Great Earthquake, which I didn't realize just how bad it was. Wait, an 11? I thought it only went up to 10. It was a magnitude like 8, but I'm sure their structures weren't really prepared for that. It was a almost 12 in terms of, this is a like damage or intensity scale. 1925, obviously we have the Soviet Union up there. So relations with the USSR for now. Interesting discussion. Yeah, because obviously it took the Soviets a long time before they went after Japan during WWII, even though they were fighting on opposite sides, in opposite factions. 1930. So now they're going to begin to, by the way, that's not Taiwan's flag. That was the older China flag. So they're going to grab Manchuria. They're going to grab lots of little territories inside of China before World War II officially breaks out. But people can begin to say this was the starting point of WWII. It probably wasn't officially started just yet. 1932, they had all this land. Again, this is still like 7 years before chaos in Europe really erupts. League of Nations. League of Nations wasn't going to do much. They're going to get kicked out in 1933. You think that's going to stop them? They're going to show you exactly. That's hilarious because we all know that that was not going to last. 1935, some railroad incident. Interesting again to see how much the Soviets did work together. 1936, we have No Mustache Man referring to the Japanese as honorary Aryans. Okay, 1936, beginning of the Hoi Ford timeline. This is when they're not enjoying the Soviets quite as much. 1937, Shanghai, they're getting all the way down there. 1938, again, still before craziness in Europe. Now the craziness in Europe begins. Pearl Harbor still 2 years away. Oh, now 1 year away. Here's the Axis faction officially forming with Italy as well. Not sure how the Japanese felt about the Italians. Here's Pearl Harbor. They're gonna blow up some boats. I guess, yeah, that was a nice depiction of Pearl Harbor. There were some boats that were sunk too, though. 1942. Now, Japan didn't take over all of India, but they were fighting British Raj at this time, and they got very giant. 1944. This is when they were about to be the lone Axis member pretty soon. Well, they're gonna kamikaze a couple times. And when does the power of two suns get dropped on them? Give up. Japan's like, no? How about now? Yes. How about now? I love that they included the Soviet invasion too, not just the two sons, because it was a combined effort. Like, there's a lot of bad things that was happening with Japan at the same time. Two nukes and the Soviets invaded. Yeah, this wasn't gonna go well. So they pretty much had no other option. It's like, well, it was inevitable. Save the country at least. So Japan was forced to decolonize, give that up back to the Soviets, give islands back to the USA, or just to the USA. Also, Korea is now free. It's actually together at this point, but it's going to split apart. Oh, they want to be homies? Yeah. 1972, Japan and China, their relationship is strange, but they're still, yeah, and then they give this back, those islands back to Japan. Japan's going to have some economic success pretty soon here, especially in the 90s. They were going to see rapid growth. The anime was going to begin. Here it is. I forget all the time how, like, in the 90s, the U.S. was most terrified of Japan because their economy was just exploding. Just in an economic sense. Bubblegum. And then we're going to have to see some depopulation. Oh, yeah, the pop. Yep, so, yeah. And here's the end of their economic successes. Is this an anime reference? Please tell me. Or Bob Ross. I don't know. USA likes the painting. Oh, yeah, we'll take your art. We like that stuff. 2002. Is that World Cup? Is that a reference to the World Cup? Yeah. There's always earthquakes affecting Japan, tsunamis. 2007, signing agreements. HTV-1. Is this their first spacecraft in... Was that the year they launched something first into space? Another... Yep. Fukushima. The Fukushima disaster still affects them to this day. 2016. I mean, here's the thing. They're right in that Ring of Fire. This is what's referred to as the Ring of Fire, and there's obviously a lot going on near the Japanese islands, that's for sure. And now we have modern times. Oh, I thought they were gonna launch. I thought they clicked it 3 times and it just stayed the exact same. Okay, good. That's all I needed. It's just 1 second. You can't ignore that.
Why is Japan helping them at all?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe it's time to break out the big guns.
This is horrifying. Their face.
I have something in mind.
Oh goodness. Is this a reference to the Manhattan Project?
Have you heard about the Tsar Bomba?
Well,
my scientists have developed something.
What is this? I'm
That looks
so scared.
scary. You could wipe out the population.
This is a giant fighting robot?
With that. Are you sure that's ethical?
Oh my goodness.
I thought you were serious.
Can't we just launch bombs in the desert where no one lives to demonstrate power? I think it'll make sense to everyone.
No.
Yeah.
We will strike right at Japan.
Okay. So this is just showing a little animation of...
Let's get it over with.
At the end of World War II. Really love that video. Again, like I said in the very beginning, please go subscribe to Stateballs if you haven't already. And big thanks to my patrons. Drew, I forgot to kidnap you. Next date is March 19th, 2023 at 6:30
Boy, do I
PM.
love Arby's.
Drew's Eritrean grandma.
Portugal is not
Drew's
Balkans.
Argentinian
$20
grandpa.
is a lot, Drew.
aPhatNarwhal.
Bryton is the
Caleb,
best. The
H.
Mexicans have good old
760.
Rye.
Jack Traven's annoying
John
friend.
Denver
Luxembourg
loves
Luxembourg
Pork
567.
Fresh
Quinn
Taylor.
Taylor.
The
The
Weeknd.
The
The Great
Great
Commonwealth.
Twickenhamster.
Carmel S. and ZaneyBoi